So, all right, ladies, we are going to get started because we do have a lot and there's still more to come on. So I hope they do. So the first thing I will begin with and say is I will most likely most of you know a lot of the things I'm going to talk about with Passover, but just in case someone doesn't, that's why I repeat. That's why I tell you. So I apologize if I'm repeating to you things that you've known, but I don't want to miss anyone if there's things that I am sharing. And if you have something to share about Passover, that's what we're going to work on these next three classes is Passover. But before we do start with Passover, I just wanted to see, I don't feel we got to the Kiddush enough, the Friday Kiddush with the, starting with the Baruch. Did not do the Friday night part, which we'll do at the end. The Friday night part says Yom Hashishi, it says the 6 days, 7 days, that's a paragraph. But so let's just go over the Kiddush. It's actually the Saturday morning, and I'm going to screen share with you all. There we go. I'm going to share my sound, share this, share this. Okay. So if I can't make this a little bit bigger. I can't make it. All right. I hope you all can see that. I don't know if I can make it bigger. This one, it supposedly it can, but I can't see it. Everybody see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Good. Okay. Do I have a volunteer to read it?
I'll go.
Okay, Beth, please.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu.
Varatza.
Yeah, I just lost my places.
That's all right.
B'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kadsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim ki vanu bacharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava
Kajcha.
be'ahava. It's a lot easier to sing it.
I know.
Uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Very good. Thank you. You're right. And I wonder if all of you know this part we sing here. Kivanu. I'm sure you all know it. You've heard it. It's Kivanu Baharta. You can sing with me.
V'yatanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kadecha v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. That's a great. Would anyone else like to practice it, that they feel maybe they need some practice with this, or you feel comfortable with it?
And
yes,
did you start a few minutes earlier today?
I started at 10:01, Corinne.
Oh, no, because I tuned in at 10 and you had started
Okay,
already.
that's all right, Corinne. We're just going over the Kiddush.
And how are you, by the way?
Oh, thank you. I've got a sore arm, but thank you. I'm okay.
But, yeah, I wish I had a sore arm. In Canada here, it's like a nightmare.
Okay, I'm sorry. I hope it's just that. We have a lot to get through, so we're going to try and get through all of this in this morning. I know it's never easy, but
and
are on. Yes.
Where is that in? Because I didn't go over this. Where is that in the Bierman the in the Bierman lineup, does
Oh.
it,
Okay, this in the Bierman, I'll go back to it. Here it is. It's in Hineni.
okay,
It's in 9 Kiddush.
it's non-kiddish, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay. Did anyone else just I do not have I still am challenged with Zoom sometimes because I only have 4 of you on my screen. So show
Just-
video. I've got 2 more of you or more of you, a few more. Anyone else like to practice it? Just unmute and say so. So everybody feels pretty good about this?
Not at all.
I'll try it one time.
Okay,
I don't know
who
if
said
I
that?
remembered all. Andrea.
Okay, Andrea. I'm going to wait a minute, just minimize this. Okay, go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kacho ba'ahava uvaratzon. She's right.
Right.
It's easier to sing.
Yeah, go ahead though.
Hina chlanu,
In chi lanu.
hin chilanu, zachar,
Z.
zikar, limatza,
Zikaron.
oh, zikaron, limatza,
Lema'ase.
lamaatse, berashit.
Mhm.
Ki
Vereshit. Vereshit.
vereshit.
Good.
Ki hu yom tihila lemekara
Lamik. Lamik.
lemikara kadosh.
No, lemikra a. Lemikra a. There's that double one under there.
Oh, lemikra a kadosh
Ko. Dash.
kodesh
Mhm.
zachar
Zay.
zechar
Cher. That's an E. Zecher.
zecher
Li.
litziat
Good. That's it.
litziat mitzrayim
Mitzrayim.
mitzrayim
Mhm.
kivanu bacharta
Good.
the
The.
otanu
Mhm.
otanu kidashta
Good.
mikal
Kol.
mikol ha mayim
Meme.
ha amim
Good.
the Shabbat Kidshacha
Kad. It's a kad. Kadish
Kad.
chacha.
Kadishacha Ba'ava
Be. Be.
Be'ava
Ahava.
Be'ahava
Good.
Uvaratzan
Zone.
Varatzon
Mm-hmm.
Hin Chaltanu
Good.
Baruch Ata Adonai Mikadesh HaShabbat.
Good. Good. Very good. Just got to remember those vowels. You're good with your letters, your vowels. So maybe
Okay.
practice those a
I have
little
a
bit.
question. I have a
Okay,
question.
yeah.
Sure. Who's that? I'm sorry, I
Frank.
heard that.
Judy
Hi,
Frank.
Judy, what?
So
Yes,
the vowel with the line and then the, I don't know which one, like, okay, kidashta, kidashta. Sometimes that last vowel is pronounced one way and sometimes it's pronounced the other way. Do you follow me?
now I'm looking for what,
Do-
honestly, I don't know.
On
Oh,
six,
here,
on six, okay, line
on
six.
6,
Kidashta, and then
Kidashta.
right, but then otherwise it's pronounced ah. Other
Where's,
times the same vowel is pronounced ah.
oh, the ta, this one,
Yes.
Kidashta. You
Right.
know, it's just like, honestly, this is how I have found this. It's just like some people from Boston talk one way and some people from New York talk the other
Right,
way.
and that's for sure. That's
And
and
some people
so
from South
that's-
Africa talk another way.
okay, Corinne, yes. So this is an ah sound, it's kidashta, but I know it comes out ta, kidashta from a lot of people. And honestly, I don't think anybody, you're still getting the kuf dalet shin, which is
right.
the holy part, the part that's holy. The ta means you, or, so I understand, but just try. And if your mouth doesn't do it, just don't worry about it, because
Right.
it's
Well,
just, it happens that way. I've heard that.
My biggest problem, honestly, I'll just share with you for a second. My biggest problem, and I don't know if any of these classes will help me. I'm completely tone deaf. So, I mean, I know the words and I hear the melody, but I can't repeat it. And so I'd love
know
to
what?
be able to chant like when I do the blessings before the Torah reading, I feel really uncomfortable chanting them because I feel like I'm so off key that it's so embarrassing for myself.
Don't be that way. You're up
I-
there doing it. Don't ever be that way,
I
honestly.
know, so I just can't bring
don't-
myself to chanting it because I just
don't-
feel so
Don't stop
uncomfortable.
doing things. You know what, if people are going to judge, I feel this. If people are going to judge, who cares? You don't need them.
Right, but
you're
how
up
do
there.
I learn how to chant?
I do not know that. I think a hearing specialist could help you, but I don't
Right,
know how to
but
help you with that.
so that's my biggest problem.
Right. But just try. You caught that. So
Oh yeah, I
know,
know that. I know that.
so, and for everyone, you try your best, and there will sometimes things will come out. You just have to make sure that you get some of these vowels exact, like an E and an E and an O. You have to, there are certain vowels that are definitely, you don't want to say oo for O. You don't want to say E for A. That's definitely, that will change the meaning of it. But
Right.
an ah, oh, ah, I learned growing up, ah, oh, eh. That's how I learned it, but now it's ah, ah, eh. So, that's the difference. But
Mhm.
you're okay. That don't, I just keep trying. That's all.
Can we try? Can we try chanting it now? Or
Sure.
And
Who would like?
can I ask a quick question back on
Sure.
line 6? The word after kidashta, is it mikal or mikol? Because it sounded like you were pronouncing that one more with an aw sound.
I did. Because I did. I say me cold. I say kol meaning awe and from awe, and I do it. I don't say mikal. And honestly, you hear most chazanim pronouncing it mikol. You will hear that. So, like I said before, it sometimes is that difference of, what part you're from and how you're getting it out. Ah, eh, it's the ah, it's you will. It's a difference between Ashkenazic and Sephardic. And I had someone teach me once, he said, don't mix them. Well, sometimes it's hard not to mix your Sephardic, and when you've learned it one way all your life. And
Right.
then when you become 60, you're starting to learn it a different way. It's not easy. It's truly not. So you all have to give yourself the benefit of the doubt. And you know what? No one's testing you. I'm not testing you, and no one's testing you. And as long as you're getting out one of them that is correct, I think you're okay. Really, I see that.
So
So-
if you said Mikal, it's also okay.
Yes, if you say Mikal, it's okay, but me, and some of us will say Mikol, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so who would like to sing it? Or would you like, oh no, they don't sing it on this one, I'm sorry. Who would like to sing it?
Why don't we all do it?
You can all do it. It does
Can we
sound
do
like
it
a,
together or?
you can do it together. It does sound a little bit of a cacophony. It just sounds a little bit, but so some of it is not sung. Most of the time people just say this part, Baruch Atah.
Yeah.
And then, all right, they'll start here. So we can start here if you all feel comfortable with that. Baruch Atah
Adonai,
Eloheinu
Eloheinu melech haolam,
asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzahanu b'shabbat
Shabbat
b'ahava uvratzon hilanu zikaron l'maaseh b'reishit L'mikra kodesh Zeher Yetziat Mitzrayim Kivanu Aharta V'otanu Kidashta Mikol Amim V'Shabbat B'Chita V'Ava U'Vatzon Hinalanu Baruch Atah Adonai Mikadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Very good. Everybody feel pretty good about that?
Yeah.
All right, I am going to stop share so I can see who else is here. Sheila is here. Hello.
Somebody just sent a message that they lost the link.
Let me see in the chat.
No, I
No.
got an email. Let's say,
Oh.
Marlene Ostro seems to have misfiled her link. Can someone email it to her?
Okay. Let me see. Let me just make sure I've got everybody here. 9 and 3 is 12. All right, I'm missing a couple of you. I'm not sure who. Linda, I've got Melinda Zelda Greenberg. Gotcha. There we go. Andrea Hiker. Okay, all right, I will send her it on my other computer because I'm not really good at going between this one and that one. I just, it always kind of lets it off. So while I'm doing that though, anyone else feel that they need any more practice with this Kiddush? Great, all right. So now I'm going to screen share again and let you take a look at, wait a minute. Let me see if this is what I want. Yes, okay, okay. So this is what I want. And I will send that to her in a minute. All right, so do you all see that?
No, it's half and half.
Oh, okay, all right. Half and half.
And can I just ask one quick question regarding
Sure.
the Kiddush? So on Friday night, you do just that small paragraph, the Yom HaShishi?
No, on Friday night, yes, I'm sorry, I wasn't listening to you. Yes, on Friday night, you add the Yom HaShishi.
So on Saturday,
Saturday, it starts here.
it starts where we started.
Yes.
Right, of course. And then Yom HaShishi, okay, Fridays. Okay, so then we add that one. So that Friday night, it's just that short one? I'm just.
No, in addition to the rest.
Oh, in
it's-
addition to the rest.
In
Okay,
addition to the rest, you add it before you say
Right.
the rest of it.
right.
Because
that
you're
makes
saying
sense.
on 6 days and then on
Six
the
days, right.
seventh day and God, so that's, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
let me just do this real quick. So I just want you all to kind of take a look at this. I hope everybody, you can see this about the Haggadah.
Marlene's on.
Is she on?
Yeah.
Oh, good, because I was gonna email her.
I
Okay.
emailed her.
Thank you.
I got her.
Marlene, I'm sorry that I did not get that. Okay, very good.
Thank you, Andrea.
You're welcome.
Okay, so here I've got a couple more of you, and I'm just gonna put it here. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about Passover, which I can't believe it's gonna be here in 3 weeks.
Oh my God. Really?
It just snuck up on us. So, I have been leading my seder for, I don't know, 20, 30 years now. My husband would do it the way my father did it, and I just wanted something different. So I started adding, and we had bought a new Haggadah, and there are so many different Haggadot, that's the plural. I use this one. I don't know if any of you have seen it.
Oh, it's
It's Passover Haggadah, the Feast of Freedom. So Seder means order. And well, I'm just going to give a little I had said to everybody, whoever just got on, I may say things that you may know. I'm going to repeat them in case someone does not know, just so that everybody gets it. So Seder means order, and it literally follows a certain order. We prepare in certain ways, and at the Seder table, we do certain parts of it. We follow along in a Haggadah. So here, this one, that's a table of contents. So the Haggadah actually is a guide, as they say. It's generally easy to read. There's some that are almost all English, some that are almost all Hebrew, but I think the newer ones give you both, because let's face it, not everybody, and actually probably only 80% of us really understand all of the Hebrew. So they say that 98% of Jews go to a seder. So, that's an amazing thing. And there's so much to be learned from being at a seder. You can learn, you can teach if you do it. That is relevant to today. And there are things that I do at mine that are just very relevant to today. So when you prepare for the seder, let me see if I can just move you all over a little bit so I can read all of it. Okay, so you have a Seder plate. I'm going to tell you something very interesting. I just learned teaching my kids, because my daughter gave me a list of words they had to learn. Ke'ara. Ke'ara is a Seder plate. I never knew that. We always just said the Seder plate. So it's a kuf, an ayin, a resh, and a hey. Ke'ara, and it means a Seder plate. You must have on your Seder plate, if you're going to do it properly or the way it's been done. I shouldn't say properly. If you're going to do it the way it's been done and to bring about all the symbolism that is part of Passover, you need these items. You need the shank bone, which is the zeroah. It can be lamb. It could be, I use a chicken bone, a leg. But people will use different things for it. If you're a vegan, you can use a beet, because there's blood. It makes it look like there's blood from a leg. The charoset is the mixture of nuts, fruit, wine, and spices. And I will tell you that I make 2 of them. I make an old-fashioned Ashkenazic, and then I make a Sephardic one that a very dear friend of mine, she's a rabbi's wife, gave me. And everybody loves it. It's almost like a trail mix, except it's moist. But it's an easy recipe, and it definitely holds together. I say to my kids, what is the charoset like? And it's like the mortar, which held the bricks together. And we learn that in our Haggadah. You have to have bitter herbs on your plate. Most of the time, growing up, we always had a little bowl of red horseradish or white horseradish. But there are people who will put raw horseradish on. It's kind of fun, very bitter, but you can do that, and you can either just have it symbolically on your plate and let everybody use the liquid one, the moist one, or you can give everyone a piece of it, let them try it. Vegetable. This is so interesting, the different types that are on a plate, and depending upon where your family's from and where you learned, we have always put parsley on it. I know other people who put lettuce. And then I learned that there were people who put potatoes. It has to be a vegetable. It doesn't say that it's a green vegetable. It just says a vegetable. So whatever you want, you can do. And then the egg, the betza. So the vegetables, the karpas, as I said, the bitter herbs are the maror. The egg is the betza. It should be roasted and hard boiled. And what I do is when I have my hard boiled egg, I put that and my chicken bone in the oven, and I roast both of them. So I have them ready. The egg is symbolic of many things. It's symbolic of new life. It's symbolic of spring. We feel that when we left Egypt, we started a new life. So there are a few interpretations of it. You always have a plate that holds 3 pieces of matzah. Now, there was a time that when I was in Baltimore, that it was for Russian emigres, that we put 4 in, and we put it in for the Russians so that they would have freedom. I've gone back to 3 now. They've been allowed to leave if they want, as Natan Sharansky has done, but always have the 3 pieces. There's different symbolisms for that, and I'll get into that later. When I was growing up, we were taught that it is for the Kohen, the Levi, and the Israelite. That's the 3 symbolized. It actually symbolizes other things, so we'll get into that later. You always need a bowl of salt water, which is for the tears that the Jews shed when they were slaves. What I like to do is I like to buy those little plastic bowls, tiny ones, and I give everyone at my seder table their own salt water. So we used to have to pass the salt water. You're passing everything. It took long, and if you have any young children, and even adult children who are impatient, this makes it a little faster. So I actually give everyone a little plate that has a piece of parsley, a little bowl of salt water, and an egg on it. And then anything else they might pass. You have a wine glass for each person, because you should, it's part of it, to drink 4 cups of wine. 2 of them are before the meal, and 2 of them are after the meal. It doesn't necessarily have to be wine. It can be grape juice. We have a couple of recovering alcoholics at ours, so it's always grape juice for them. And then there's an extra glass for Elijah, the prophet, Eliyahu. And I always put a glass for Miriam. And as Women's League, we do kind of encourage that. Miriam was a prophetess. She's very important in the story, although she was overlooked by the men who were interpreting it. But we as women know that we need to bring her into the story. So I always have a glass of water for her, which is for Miriam. So we all know there's no bread at the Seder meal, and you don't prepare anything. If you keep kosher, then you do keep kosher for Passover. It means that you keep away from any kind of bread substance. And you have different dishes, and you have different flatware and all. But that doesn't mean you have to. I mean, everyone has to do what's comfortable for them. I'll tell you a silly thing. I always kept kosher, and then I stopped for a while. But even when I stopped keeping kosher, I still kept kosher for Passover, and I still changed my dishes, and I still cleaned my kitchen, and I made it all Passover. I had grown up that way. It was that way. Then I did go back to keeping kosher. I koshered the kitchen I was in and got new whatever, and now I keep kosher all the time. And so it's easier to do Pesach, sort of. It's a lot of cleaning. It's a lot to do. So, before I go on, any questions?
I
Anybody?
don't have a question, but I just wanted to say another thing that I add, sorry, now my phone's going, to my Seder plate is an orange.
Oh, You're right. I did not get to that. Thank you. I also do that. Thank you.
What does
Sherry-
it symbolize?
All right, so there's two symbolisms of the orange, and one of them they say isn't really factual, but sometimes you can repeat it. Supposedly Susanna, this was the story, this is a midrash. Susanna Heschel, her father, Abraham Joshua Heschel, rabbi, had died, and she wanted to say Kaddish for her father. And she went into a synagogue in New York somewhere. And it was, I don't know if it was Orthodox or conservative, but they didn't want her to say it because she wasn't a man, a boy, a male. And the rabbi says to her, a woman belongs on the bima like an orange belongs on the seder plate. And it was from that point on, they say that she started putting an orange on the seder plate. And she and Letty Pogrobin, who did the women's seder, they started the women's seder, and they started because as much as the men, some men don't admit that the women were a part of it, the women played a very big role in the story of the Exodus and in the story of our lives in Egypt. So the other concept of the orange that I like this one too, is the orange is like the Israeli or the Jew, kind of hard on the outside, but sweet on the inside. So you can find another one if you want, or you can use either one of those. But I always put an orange on my Seder plate too. So thank you, Sherry.
And I was at a board, and I was at a board meeting in New York a million years ago in the 80s. When that story came out, it was verbatim. It was discussed at Women's League, and we all laughed and said, from now on, it's an orange on the Seder plate.
Right. And that's it. Because we women are just as important. We are. Thank you, Sheila. Okay. So that's what you always prepare as your Seder plate. And then let me see how I'm going to do this. Okay. So let's follow through our bracha for, and I can make this a little bit larger. This is our bracha when we light the candles. And as you can see, it says Yom Tov at the bottom, because anytime you're lighting and it's not Shabbat, you say Lahadlik Ner Shel Yom Tov. Now, if Passover Seder falls on a Friday night, you would say the Shabbat first, Lahadlik Ner Shel Shabbat Uva Yom Tov and Yom Tov. But we give the most respect to Shabbat. So we would do that. But this is it. Do I have someone who would like to read it? Anybody? Come on in, you know.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. It's
Yeah.
just funny how it's broken.
I know.
Malach ha'olam.
Melech.
Melech ha'olam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Yom Tov.
Thank you. Thank you. Melech is a king, a ruler. Malach means something else. There's a so we have to make sure we say Melech. That's what he is. Okay. All righty. I asked my kids, and this is something that and maybe you've heard this or not, but there's one person who is not mentioned in the Haggadah. Actually two, but one person who was very important in this storyline, and who knows who
Moses.
Yeah, Moses. As much as we talk about it, and it was what happened, and Moses was there, he's not mentioned in any of our Haggadot. So it's interesting how they created the Haggadah to remind us, but didn't bring him into it. So when I talked to my kids, my grandkids when they were little, I would always bring it up. You know, they felt that they needed to know that too. So the Seder, the service is And we'll just go through it. Kadesh, which is sanctifying the day. That's making it holy. And we say the bracha over the wine, and it's the basic bracha, and you can all say it with me. Baruch
Baruch
atah
atah
Adonai Eloheinu
Melech
Olam Borei Pri Hagafen. It's over fruit of the vine. And I will tell you that I have always had people at my Seder who weren't Jewish, at both Seders, or who really didn't know. And I would always read the English too. I feel that it's so important that we are inclusive. On the first night, it is also customary to say the Shehechiyanu. And let's see, who would like to read this? Why don't one of you read this? You all, I think you all know this because you say it, but let's just read it, say it. Who's going to do that for me?
I'll say.
Judy, go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu.
Melech.
Eloheinu melech olam shehechiyanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh.
Right, thank you. And that is, you sustain us to reach this season. You know, we always thank God for everything. We show that we're grateful. So, if you follow the order of it, and let's see, there is what's called the ritual hand washing, which is or chatz. Here it is in the Hebrew, or chatz. Or chatz. That's that final tzadi. And when you do say this the first time, you don't say the bracha. Now, we learned al netilat yodayim before to say it over hand washing, but when you have your seder, if you're following it, the first ritual hand washing, all you do is you wash your hand, you do the 3 times, and then you sit down. Okay. Next is the karpas. Now they say dipping parsley. You can dip anything into the salt water. And with that, we always say a bracha. With everything we do, these are, it's important that we do a bracha, that we do a blessing, that we're asking God to bless us because we are doing these things. We are acknowledging what he's given us. So who would like to read over a vegetable?
I'll read.
Go ahead, please.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri ha'adamah.
Adama, thank you. And that is over any type of fruit, anything, and over any vegetable. Okay. So then we have breaking the middle matzah. So we talked about the 3 matzot. Remember the things are plural. And the middle matzah is broken. That's yachatz. And the kids love this. And, you know, because this one is the one where we take it and we break that middle matzah, and one half someone puts it into a napkin or a special holder. I've kept all those things from my kids from Hebrew school, and I use different ones. It's silly because my oldest is 50 and my youngest he'll be 50 and my youngest is going to be 44, but I do. If my grandkids have made any for me, I'll use those. So we put it in, we divide it, and the one piece becomes the afikomen. The afikomen is actually technically dessert. And as I told the kids yesterday, after you've eaten your delicious desserts, then you eat the afikomen. So we break it, and then we start to tell the story of the Passover, which is Magid. I was at the Masorti movement in Israel this past Tuesday, and I went to Rabbi Levin's class, and she talked about Passover and gave us some great ideas I'm going to share with you. But the one thing she said to me is, how many questions are in the 4 questions? And anybody want to say how many questions are in the 4 questions?
More than 4?
What?
More than 4?
More than 4.
A whole night's worth, Seder's worth.
It is. It's called the 4 questions. It's vier kashas in Yiddish. There is one question. This
Oh.
one, why is this night different from all other nights?
Right, right.
And then the rest of it is the answer. And when she said that, I went, oh my God, all my 70 some years. And I thought it was 4 questions. So it's one question and 4 answers. And yes, it is nice that the children do it. We're going to go over this also so that you all at least can read this well. The Firkashis, the 4 questions. So here we have talking about them. So I am going to go back to my other, okay, and I'm going to go back into Passover. And all right, so we already did this over wine, hagafen. We did over the vegetable, hadama. Now, what we didn't do is number 3, because, and this is not staying still enough. Okay. So number 3 is when we say it over the matzah. And some people say, well, it's matzah, it's not bread. But min haaretz means from the earth. And lechem meaning the grains from the earth. So matzah is not leavened, so it doesn't become bread, but it is grain. It is from the earth. It's just unleavened grain. It hasn't risen. So we still say lechem min haaretz. So who would like to read number 3?
I'll read it.
Okay, thank you. Go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Yes, thank you. And that's what we say. So then we come to, oh, I'm sorry. Whoa, I can't get it. I'm sorry. Okay, come on.
I think
Not
it's
quite.
6, right? Manish
There we go. I'm sorry. I forgot to look at this side. Okay. So, our next one is al hachilat matzah. This is what we say when we have broken the matzah. And we say a bracha over this. We're going to then do a dip and do things like that. But this is a little bit different. So it says that it's matzah, and it's al hachilat. So who would like to read this for me?
I'll read it.
Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al achilat matzah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Give you a better explanation. Okay. So then we've broken the matzah, we've said that, and we go on to the maror, which is very similar. You'll see that so many of them, they always have the blessing formula. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. That's always the blessing formula. And then Asher Kiddishana b'mitzvot tov, it's our mitzvah to do this. This is a commandment to do this. But then the words at the end will change a little bit depending upon what we're saying. So this is over maror. Who do I have? Who would like to read this? Somebody?
I can read again.
Okay, Corinne, go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al hachilat maror.
Maror, yes.
Maror, yeah.
Yes, maror. And that is over the bitter herbs. So then, okay. So when you do put your, when you do have your charoset, you don't say a bracha over that. You've said it over the achilat matzah, and then you talk about the charoset, and you talk about that it's the mortar and everything else, and then everyone tastes it. And then in the Haggadah, there's also what's called the Hillel sandwich. Hillel said that you take both maror and haroset, you take bitter herbs and you take the mortar, and because we were crying, because we were sad, because we had to build these pyramids, we eat that together. And the haroset's sweet, so it helps us get through all that bitterness. Because the bitter herbs, you know, some of them can actually make you cry because if they're so strong. But so that's what we do there. Then next to that, we will do, we've done all those are all our food blessings that we've said. And what I didn't say is before, at one point, you will do hand washing again. If you follow the seder, and people do it different ways. But when you do your second hand washing, that's when you say, Al nitilat yodayim. You will say the complete one aloud. And so just so you know that that's for your second. Okay, I'm looking at the time. Now, I'm gonna show you a couple of pictures in my book that I love. Yeah. Okay. And so we tell the story, the Magid, and in all the Haggadot, there is something that tells of the story, but you can also just tell what you've learned, depending upon who's at your seder. I mean, if you've got young children, you want them to learn something different, you can always look up online and find things for children. If you have all adults, and I know this year is probably still going to be unusual. Many of you are still going to be either by yourself or Zooming with someone. Because my husband and I got the second dose, and it will be 3 weeks to Pesach, we have made the decision to invite our son and his family and our daughter and her family and sit us social distanced. They're sitting 6 to 8 feet away and 10 feet away or 12 feet away out on our lanai. I do feel I'm very grateful and thankful that I've gotten the vaccine and that I can do this. But it's still, I know for a lot of people going to be hard. And so just know that God willing, next year it will be different. Next year we will all be able to have the kind of seders we want. So no, this is the Manish Tana. Wait a minute. Okay. So here's just one of the pictures of the that I don't know if you can see it. This is a book full of artwork, and that sometimes helps with people. You know, there's a lot of words around it, but there's a lot of midrash on these pages. But I try and get people to be interested. Later, we'll talk about what used to be the 4 sons, and then some people like the feminist seders made it the 4 daughters. I make it the 4 children. And the 4 children, when we talk about them, it's nice because it's inclusive. So here we go. Here is the Manishtana. And let me see if they will sing it.
Ma nishtana halayla hazeh mikol halelot.
Okay, so she's not singing it. Would anybody like to try and venture to sing it as you're reading it?
I'll try.
I can sing it.
Okay, Marlene, you do 6 and 7, and Madeline do the other 2. So go ahead.
Oh, 6. Okay. Oh, am I unplugged?
First one.
Manishtana halayla hazeh mikol halelot. Mikol halelot. Halayla hazeh.
That's all right. Go ahead. That's how you'll sing it.
But where is that?
It isn't on here. This is just
okay. You're tricky. You want to see if it's memory or if the words are really there. Okay. So are we supposed to go on to number 7? 6?
Just reading now. Yes. I didn't mean to trick you. I forgot that it would repeat like that. But yes, we do teach the children
all the time. I have to catch myself.
But here, you just sing this one. The answer.
Shebechol halelot anu, anu,
Lean.
lead. I lost the tune.
Hametz.
Hametz umatzah. Hametz umatzah. Halayla hazeh, halayla hazeh. Kulu matzah.
Kulo.
Kulo matzah. Halayla hazeh, halayla hazeh. Kula matzah.
Great, very good. Didn't mean to trick you.
Yeah, that's okay. You got to keep our brains fresh, middle-aged and above.
So, before you start, with the 8 and 9, we read the question, how different is this night is from all other nights, and then this is the answer. On all other nights, we either eat chametz or matzah. Okay, chametz or matzah. Here, chametz or matzah. On this night, we eat only matzah. In here, okay, that's 6 and 7. So if you would read for us, 8 and 9, actually. Yeah, whoop, too far. Go ahead.
Well, don't you start with Manishtana?
No.
Oh.
You sing that the first time?
Only once?
Yes, and
Oh.
then it's
Shebechol halelot anu ochlin sha'er irakot.
Sha'ar.
Sha'ar irakot. Halayla hazeh maror.
Okay, and I'll stop. I'll just interrupt with that. We say on all other nights, all kinds of vegetables. On this night, we eat only bitter herbs, which is not true because all of us do eat vegetables, but we specify bitter herbs. Okay, and if you'll do 9, Madeline.
Oh, Shebechol halelot ein anu matbilin afilu pa'am achat.
Ha'am.
Afilu pa'am achat.
Echad.
Echat. Halayla hazeh shtei pa'amim.
Fe'amim. Fe. That's a fe.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
But the Hebrew word isn't it hand, pam?
No. This is dipping.
What is
we dip twice. It's dipping.
But what does fa'amim mean? Dipping?
Yes. We dip
So in
twice.
other words, so it's not the hand?
No,
It's
that's
not-
a yad. A yad. A yad is a hand.
Right.
This is the
Oh,
dipping.
times.
Fe'amim.
Oh, all these years. Halayla hazeh shtei fa'amim.
Fe'amim.
Fe'amim.
Nafa. Fe'amim. Right.
Fe'amim, yeah.
So we say that we don't normally even dip once, and this night we dip twice. Okay. And then I have the last one, number 10. Who would like to read that one? Anybody?
All right, I'll do it.
Okay, Corinne.
Shebachol halelot anu ochlin bein yoshbin ubein mesubin halayla hazeh kulanu mesubin.
Right, thank you. And this is that we say that on all other nights we sit straight, we lean, we do whatever we want when we're eating, but on this night we have to lean because we're free. The royal people leaned. Slaves were not allowed to. So we have to specify this for our children, that we are not slaves, we are free, and we can lean and be relaxed. So, okay, very good. That is it for them. Well, any questions? I'm going to go stop share for right now and see all of you. Hello.
So here's a quick follow-up question, Anne. So why are they calling him the 4 questions instead of the 4 answers? This student asks.
You know,
It's tricky.
interesting. Firkashes is Yiddish. And honestly, it's like, I guess they were thinking that 4 answers to 4 questions. I don't know. But all my life, I thought it was the 4 questions. And
Right.
honestly, when she said, so how many questions are in the 4 questions? And we looked at her on the screens and I, 1, and that's it.
It's very funny.
Huh?
It's very funny.
It is. It truly is. It truly is. It just is interesting. So, any other questions about the Seder? I mean, next week we'll go over some other things with the Passover Seder. Anything questions you have right now about it that I said?
No, only a comment. My maiden name was Magid.
Magid, really?
Yeah, M-A-G-I-D. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's a
that
story. A story.
My ancestors must have been, I don't know, storytellers or something.
Maybe. That's so interesting.
Mm.
So let me give you another thing that Rabbi Levin shared with us. Even if you are not going to have your Seder together and you're going to do Zoom, you can still do this. And for anybody who's there, she said to put name tags, and you put your English name, just your first name, and then you put your Hebrew name. And you go around either on Zoom or on whatever, and each person should say who they're named after and some of the personal traits of that person. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I think my children know who they're named after, but I've never been good about sharing all of that. I was very young when my mother died, and even young when my father died. And I just was caught up in being a mother and children and did not pass on a lot of things. And I'm going to start now. I don't care. I'll start now. You can start anytime. So that's just something that you might want to do, share. Anytime you do any kind of, even Rosh Hashanah, you can do that, or Yom Kippur, and a meal, just so we're keeping the generations alive and letting our children or our grandchildren or our sisters and brothers know, history, our history. So,
Anne, I just want to say something. I have seen that done many times, like at a bris or baby naming for a girl.
Really?
Telling about the trait of the person they were named after. And so hopefully it's written out and it's given to the child. But
that is,
I've
yes.
seen that very common now, very common.
That is so nice. I know when I named my children, I named them after people who I loved. We were Ashkenazic and we named it after someone who passed away. Sephardic names after someone who's alive.
Right. But
I named it after someone who had passed away. But I didn't
either, but I see it being done today, and I think it's great.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
But I will tell you something else. All 5 of my grandchildren are named after my son Seth in some way, his Hebrew name or his English name. And I do look at each one of them, and I have told them, actually, that's what your uncle would do. That's how your uncle was. Those are things that your uncle did, and so they have gotten some of that from that. So. All right, anybody else want to share or no? Well, we are at 11 o'clock, and I'm so glad we got to be on and together, and it's wonderful to see you all. So maybe I'll see any of you at Macomb, and bye, Sherry. And if not, I'll see you next week. So Lehitraot, till we meet again.
And
thank you very much.
Before you leave, did you talk about what next week's lesson was?
No, but I'll send it to you if you want. I'll send it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't.
I had sent you originally the list.
Right. Okay.
So,
thank you for sharing and teaching, as always.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. Next week we'll talk about the 10 plagues, Shehathiyanu, and Dayenu.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrea.
All right, everyone. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Shalom.